So, people have been talking about this quite a lot. What are we expecting out of Armored Core 6? Honestly, at this point, nothing is guaranteed. However, this doesn't mean we can't have fun speculating things. Besides, maybe I'll jinx it. Maybe this video will somehow trigger From to make an Armored Core 6. So, anyway, I'm going to be listing my personal Armored Core 6 wishes. Now, I do understand, a lot of these wishes people might disagree with, but these are personal wishes. I'm sure you guys have a lot of wishes yourselves as well. Now, let's start out with the easy one that requires the least amount of explanation. I want the base mechanics to be based on Generation 3. Now, I know a lot of people might disagree with me on this one, but I do feel this might get the biggest amount of attention. Now, my reasoning being is that Generation 3 was practically the same as Generation 1 and 2, which does mean that any fan of Generation 1 to 3 will automatically already be interested. But even though this is my wish, there are still a few tweaks I have in mind. I think we should have a quick boost again. However, it will have its own energy bar. Now let me explain. This extra quick boost bar is gonna give you enough energy for either 1 or 2 quick boosts. The regeneration of that, I think, would be fairly fast, but not fast enough that you could just spam it every second. This will make it so that if you actually dodge something with a quick boost, it will feel rewarding. Also, if you try to quick boost while your quick boost energy gauge is drained, then you will use a huge chunk of your normal energy bar. Well, on to the next wish. Some people might have heard me talk about this before, but I want a part transmog system. As an example, do you use a heavy core, but the appearance of it is ugly? Well, why not use the appearance of an other heavy core? So you will avoid stuff like a heavy core using the appearance of a lightweight core, or a head, or arms, or legs. And this eases into my next wish. I would love if all hidden parts of the game were just obtainable in the old-fashioned Armored Core 1 way of it just being hidden in levels. Now, as for the S ranks, I think the S ranks should unlock transmog parts of older AC games. This then does not discourage players from playing online because they did not get the new shiny hidden parts. Now, the next topic on my list is I think we should do what Generation 4 did with its back weapons. What I would mean is that you would have separate buttons to swap either the left side of your weapons or the right side of your weapons. Now, this is not really a gameplay feature, but please, From Software, look at the weakest weapons you've ever made in the AC franchise and look why they are bad. I mean, look at the Python, for example. It's a really badass weapon, the concept of it's badass, but it sucks! Now here's my next wish. Avoid brown colors. Seriously, Armored Core 4 was like 90% brown. Maybe 5% black, and the other 5% is colors. Now here's an idea from Okami. Why not give people, only for single player, super overpowered weapons that you could earn, or also OP Intensify / Human Plus? Why not even name them something badass, like Zenaida's Python, or Jacko's Kurosawa? Maybe they can be unlocked via my next wish, which is, why not have bonus content at the end of the game where you fight stuff from the older games, like ravens or bosses? Maybe beating 9-Ball Seraph will give you 9-Ball's Pulse Rifle from Armored Core 1. And if you try to go online with these weapons, they just have the stats of their normal counterparts. Now my next wish is, why not have online co-op or local co-op? But don't do what Forancer did. What Forancer did is limit what missions you could choose, only make them choosable if you've already done them and if your partner already has done them, and not all the missions were available. This was a horrible choice. But I also need to address this. Do not rely on online alone. The single player needs to stand on its own, so that years later, if someone wants to try Armored Core 6 out, they can still play it, even with the server shut down. And speaking of co-op, why not have enemy health scale depending on how many players you're playing with? Also, please release this on all consoles, don't exclude any other console, and let's have a PC port, preferably with Steam support. And now, next up is, why not improve blade tracking again? Don't make it as overpowered as Forancer, but don't make it as useless as Last Raven. And this is a personal wish. I really wish that if we watch a replay that we have control over the camera. When I recorded my one Armored Core Machinima, I had so much trouble recording the camera properly because the camera just did whatever the hell it wanted to. Now this is something I think a lot of people might disagree with, but I want DLC for this game. And it could be something like remakes of older levels from older games, or just entirely new things. Now here's another thing I think people might disagree with. I think the heat generation was a good choice and should come back. But don't make it so punishing for new players. I think you should never be able to overheat from your own generator or booster combination. At worst, if your tuning sucks, it should at very least only fill up to 1/3 of your heat generation. Now here's something I really want. I want a folder like Last Raven had, where you could check out the story, ravens, areas, every little thing, like even enemies. This is what heavily got me into the Last Raven story, because I was able to read up on the story before I even did my first mission. Now I quickly do want to say, we should have a tutorial in the game. However, have the first few levels be part of your tutorial. You don't have to say anything in text. Just have the first level be our horizontal practice. Maybe have the second level be a vertical practice. Maybe have the third level be searching something. So you learn what you can do with your AC by doing and not reading. Now here's a pretty big wish. I would love if there was a very simple level editor in the game. Or, at best, mod support for the Steam version. Now this next wish is one that I think some people might not see coming, but why not expand on the wall kicking mechanic from Armored Core 5 and Verdict Day? It shouldn't be the only way of getting altitude, because you could still jump, but it should maybe be able to give you some options for dodging or quick maneuverability. And now here's just a small wish. Why not have a customizable AI AC that you can create yourself? This could be beneficial for multiple reasons, like partnering up with your AC in the story, or maybe versus other ACs, or better yet, why not have this customizable AI AC be usable in a customizable level as a boss? Now this next wish isn't really a game mechanic, more from, please look at Dark Souls and think, what kept the community kicking for so long? Maybe you can implement it in Armored Core. Now, here's just a silly little idea. Why not have little preset messages you can set up? Like, if you die, you say this message, or if you kill someone, you get this message. Something like that. It's not important, but I had that idea from Monster Hunter. Now, as for this little wish, do you remember the stabilizers in the 4th generation? Why not have them return, but just no stats to them? Just stuff to make your AC look cool. Now, this final wish might be very weird for some people, but why not have a hub area for the pilots? This little hub area would allow you to queue up for battles, bosses, missions, search for partners to do a mission with, or maybe try to find someone to PvP against. Maybe you can have some unlockable parts for your pilot to make them look cooler, but that's not that important. Now the positive side about having a hub world like this is you could easily partner up with anyone, and you would most likely avoid having dead content, because there would be people who want to S-rank something maybe, or they need help on a certain mission on hard mode or something. Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to these Armored Core 6 wishes. Now I am being realistic, these most likely are never gonna happen, but whatever, I got it out there, hope you guys enjoyed.